18 minutes.
My name's Scott Galloway. I teach at NYU, and I appreciate your time. I have 44 slides in 720 seconds. Let's light this candle. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I'm actually a global television star. True story. I've had 4 TV series in the last 3 years. 2 of them have been canceled before they were launched, and 2 were canceled within 6 weeks. Let's recap.
If we want to juice this thing, if we want to put a cattle prod up the ass of the economy.
Bloomberg, the most trusted name in financial news.
That's a good buddy for an old man. If you're above 40 and that's your buddy, that's pretty good, man.
Not for long.
I'm going to do whatever I can for this country of ours.
Jesus Christ.
Andrew Yang was way too good for
You're
America.
0 for 2. Are you
They don't deserve him.
Face for podcasting. So first insight of the day, I'd like to be the first person to welcome you to the last Fed. Okay. By the way, it's clear, what's it called? What are we here for? The Brave and the Brilliant? It's clear that Chris is a frustrated soap opera producer. Essentially what we have here is a telenovela where after a night of unbridled passion between Bill Gates and Malcolm Gladwell, they give birth to their bastard love child, Simon Sinek.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Okay. I start us with a question.
Maybe this makes
Do we
sense
love
to-
our children? Sounds like an illegitimate question, right? Well, I'm going to try and convince you otherwise. Essentially, as we go down generations, we're seeing that for the last 2 generations, people are making less money on an inflation-adjusted basis. In addition, the cost...
One sec. Each generation at age 25. I don't follow. What are we right now? This is us? It's kind of just saying that every generation has to make money. They have less income pre-taxes, annual cost of public college. That can't be real. It went from 17 to 42%. The average cost of college, of a percentage of the income. Ach du Heilige. House price to income. Damn. Yeah, this is kind of what I was saying about a sec. No wonder young men are fucking furious. Right? Like, dude.
Cost of buying a home, the cost of pursuing education continues to skyrocket. So
Remember to adjust this for inflation. It is adjusted for inflation, yeah.
the purchasing power, the prosperity, is inversely correlated to age. Simply put, as we get younger, we're taking away opportunity and prosperity from our youngest. The social contract that is now no longer in place, and for the first time in the U.S.'s history, a 30-year-old is no longer doing as well as his or her parents were at 30. This is a
Percentage of 30-year-olds earning more than their parents did at 30.
breakdown in the fundamental
down.
agreement we have with any society, and it creates rage and shame.
It creates rage and shame. That's why we're going into this, because I want to talk about this young men being lost, and it's not even their fucking fault.
As a result, people over the age of 55 feel pretty good about America, but less than 1 in 5 people under the age of 30.
Everywhere, right? Your country the same, maybe Germany the same. Young people are super fucking depressed. They feel like no one listens to them. They feel like the future is fucked. Global warming, bad economies, war. But they have no voting power, because all the voting power is with old people.
Feel very good
Another great argument why young people are so fucking frustrated.
about America.
As they should be.
This creates an incendiary. Righteous movements, cuts to our society end up becoming opportunistic infections because, generally speaking, young people have a warranted envy, they're pissed off, and they're angry that they don't enjoy the same spoils and prosperity that were provided to our generation. A decent proxy for how much we value...
That's insanity, man. That's insanity. Can I get a German one? Can I get a German one? This is from 2015. Obviously not enough. But I know in Germany it's growing a lot. Yeah, it went from 850. It almost doubled in 15 years. Where that's America. It doubled once in 20 years, but then stayed kind of the same for 50 years. And this is why. This is why, like, I don't have to say anything, right? I don't have to say anything.
Use labor as minimum wage, and we've kept it purposely pretty low. If it had just kept pace with productivity, it'd be about 23.
Versus minimum wage if adjusted for productivity. Ah, this is what it should be if you like adjust it. It should be $22, which makes, yeah.
$3 a share, but we've decided to purposely keep it low. Out of reach, median home price has skyrocketed relative to median household income. As a result, pre-pandemic, the average mortgage payment was $1,100. It's now $2,300 because of an acceleration in interest
In just 5 years, man. In just 5 years.
rates, and the fact that the average home has gone from $290,000 to $420,000. By the way, the most expensive homes in the world, based on this metric, are number 3, Vancouver. Why? Because 60% of the cost of building a home goes to
Have fun, Gangster Rambler.
permits. Because guess what? The incumbents that own assets have weaponized government to make it very difficult for new entrants to ever get their own assets, thereby elevating their own net worth. This is the transfer I'm going to be speaking about.
That's something I feel in Germany, man. This club of homeowners, of real estate owners on a big scale, is a club you can't really join. I'm lucky that I'm a streamer and could buy an apartment, right? But most people, man, in our generation, friends and family that I see, we can afford one apartment in our life. One apartment, one house, something like that. Whereas the big owners, they have like 10 apartments and more and stuff like that. And it's very, very hard to join their club. Very, very hard.
This has resulted in an enormous transfer of wealth, where people over the age of 70 used to control 19% of household income versus people under the age of 40 used to control 12.
Wow.
Their wealth has been cut in half. This isn't by accident, it's purposeful. This is me at UCLA in 1987. I know your first thought is I haven't changed a bit. This is also Mia Silverio, who is the analyst who put together these slides. By the way, Mia is 26. I did the math. Just by virtue of her being in this audience, it brings the average age of the entire conference down 11 days. When I applied to UCLA, the admissions rate was 76%. Today, it's 9%. I received a 2.23 GPA from UCLA. I learned nothing but how to make bombs out of household items in every line from Planet of the Apes. And the greatest public school in the world, Berkeley, decided to let me in with a 2.27 GPA. And that's what higher ed is about. Higher ed is about taking unremarkable kids and giving them a shot at being remarkable. And every year, it's gotten more expensive. Higher ed and homes, and the ability, not only is higher ed incredibly expensive, it's not accessible, because me and my colleagues are drunk on luxury, and I'll come back to that. We've embraced the ultimate strategy. Me and my colleagues in higher ed wake up every morning and ask ourselves the same question when we look in the mirror. How can I increase my compensation while reducing my accountability? And we have found the ultimate strategy. It's called an LVMH strategy, where we artificially constrain supply to create aspiration and scarcity such that we can raise tuition faster than inflation. And old people and wealthy people have done the same thing with housing. All of a sudden, once you own a home, you become very concerned with traffic, and you make sure that there's no new housing permits. And here is a memo to my colleagues in higher ed. We're public servants, not fucking Chanel bags. Harvard is the best example of this. They've increased their endowment in the last 40 years and have decided to expand their enrollment, their freshman class, by 4%. Any university that doesn't grow their freshman class faster than population, that has over $1 billion in endowment, should lose their tax-free status because they're no longer in higher education. They're a hedge fund offering classes.
So he's pretty much talking about a big issue, which, once again, capitalism, which we see all across the world, where things that should be public services are becoming businesses. Once again, an example from Germany, a massive issue in Germany. Everyone fucking knows German chat. Our hospitals. Our hospitals have become capitalistic entities. They became businesses. And every German chat will tell you our hospitals are fucked up, bro. There's very, very bad stuff happening there. Because a hospital doesn't care anymore about the healing of the public. They care about profit. The numbers have to be right, right? And that is such a fucking problem, man. Such a fucking problem. And yeah, the American universities are businesses at this point.
My first recommendation, Biden should take some of that $750 billion earmark to bail out the 1/3 of people that got to go to college on the backs of the 2/3 that didn't, and give $1 billion to our 500 greatest public institutions, size adjusted, in exchange for 3 things. 1, they use technology and scale to reduce tuition by 2% a year, expand enrollments by 6% a year, and increase the number of vocational certifications and non-traditional 4-year degrees by 20%. Where does that get us? In just 10 years, that doubles the freshman seats and cuts the cost in half. This isn't radical. This is called college in the 80s and 90s. Another transfer of wealth. look at what's happened to wages. Oh, they've gone up, not as much as corporate profits. There's a healthy tension between capital and labor. For the last 40 years, capital has been kicking the shit out of labor. Well, you think, whoa, what about wages, right? They've gone up. Well, if you compare them to the S&P, they barely register. It's been an amazing...
And that's the thing. That's the thing. This is not anything crazy that should surprise anyone. We talk about this all the time. This is something I understand now in the last years. When you open the news and they talk about that the stock market is doing well, that's great. But who is winning here? Who is winning if the S&P 500 grows? Well, maybe your dad is invested, good for him. But who is the big winners? It's the big investors, the rich, right? The average worker at McDonald's, man, your mom working her job, is not going to benefit of the global economy fucking crushing it. But they sell it to you. Oh, we're doing great. Oh, we did 1% growth. Yeah. Did you grow 1%, Alto?
Amazing time to own assets, but your attempt to get the certification or the income such that you can acquire assets has gotten harder and harder. In my class of 300 kids, it's never been easier to be a billionaire. It's never been harder to be a millionaire. By the way, our job in higher ed isn't to identify a top 1% of people who are freakishly remarkable or have rich parents and turn them into a superclass of billionaires. It's to give the bottom 90 a chance to be in the top 10.
It's nice to see, though, and I want to hear your opinion on this, chat. I feel like, I don't know if I'm crazy, that slowly now in 2025 maybe, the voices are getting louder. You hear more people talk about these issues, acknowledge these issues, are well educated on these issues with actually very good data and not just blah blah. It feels like the voices are getting louder a bit. I guess. You hear more people talk about it, yeah, like TommyKay. I feel like no one really cares. I don't know. Not in the UK.
You know who doesn't need me or higher education? The top 10%. The whole point of higher ed is to give the unremarkables, i.e. yours truly, who was raised by a single immigrant mother, a shot at being remarkable. The transfer has been purposeful. While the cohorts, corporations, and the ultra-wealthy continue to garner more and more of our wealth, we have decided, I know, if they win the gold, let's give them the silver and the bronze, and let's lower their taxes. This transfer is purposeful. It's not by accident. And it works. Senior poverty is way down, and we should celebrate that. Meanwhile, child poverty is flat to up. The third rail, I'm going to talk about Social Security. It would cost $11 billion to expand the child tax credit, but that got stripped out of the infrastructure bill. But the additional $135 billion a year to Social Security, that flies right through Congress. And every year we transfer $1.4 trillion from a cohort that is increasingly doing less well to the cohort that is the wealthiest cohort in the history of this planet. I'm not against Social Security, but the criteria should be if you need it, not whether you have a catheter. 80% of you have absolutely no reason to ever take Social Security. It is bankrupting our nation, and we have fallen under this mythology that somehow it's this great social program. No, it's not. It's the great transfer of wealth from young to old. How is this happening? Because our representatives are, in fact, representative. Old people vote. Washington has become a cross between the land of the dead and the Golden Girls. Quite frankly, this is fucking ridiculous. And if I sound ageist, I am. And you know who else is ageist? Biology. When Speaker Pelosi had her first child, get this, 2/3 of households didn't have color televisions, and Castro had just declared martial law. But she's supposed to understand the challenges of a 17-year-old girl who's 5'9", 95 pounds, getting tips on dieting and extreme dieting from Facebook. She's supposed to understand the challenges that a 27-year-old single mother face. By the way, young and dreamy. Young and dreamy. The great intergenerational theft took place under the auspices of a virus. I know. Let's use the greatest health crisis in the century to really speedball the transfer. This is the NASDAQ from 2008 to 2012. We let the markets crash. And by the way, you need churn, you need disruption because it seeds and recalibrates advantage and wealth from the incumbents to the entrants. It's a natural part of the cycle. But wait, lately, no, 1 million people dying would be bad, but what would be tragic is if we let the NASDAQ go down and guys like me lost wealth. So we pumped the economy, which again, increased the massive transfer of wealth. The best 2 years of my life, COVID, more time with my kids, more time with Netflix, and my value of my stocks absolutely exploded. And who has to pay for my prosperity? Not me. Future generations who will have to deal with an unprecedented level of debt.
No one talks about this, man. No one talks about this, especially in Germany. Friedrich Merz now broke the debt break, right? Which is on short term, great. Germany will grow, but the future generations will have inherited the higher percentage of debt he's doing with that. The big beautiful bill, right? Massive, massive, massive debt. But no one cares, right?
Why am I here and why do I get the prosperity I enjoyed? Because in 2008, we bailed out the banks, but we didn't bail out the economy. We let the markets fall. So as I was coming into my prime income earning years, I got to buy, no joke, these stocks at these prices.
Fuck, isn't Amazon now $2,000? GG, Alter, imagine buying... Digga, what? And now it's, I think, 2,000.
This is where those stocks are now. Where does...
Oh, I'm super wrong. Sorry, I'm super wrong. GG, you're rich. You fucking won capitalism.
A young person find disruption? When you bail out the baby boomer owner of a restaurant, all you're doing is robbing opportunity from the 26-year-old graduate of a culinary academy that wants her shot. We need disruption.
I also always felt that. I'm not that super educated about this stuff, but we always talk about the free market. And if a business fails, why bail it out? Isn't this a natural thing? Like, you know, I mean, it's very deep stuff, right? I get it that when the banks were dying in 2008, a housing crisis, if you don't bail them out, like really bad things happen. But maybe after that, like the Great Plague, you will have more bloom. But sometimes it's like, why do we bail stuff out? Well, I guess it makes sense. This is maybe over my head. You save jobs and stuff, etc., etc. But is it not unnatural if something naturally wants to die and you always keep it alive with taxpayer money? Also a thing, right? If you bailed something out, like in 2008, right? They gambled money, they failed, they killed the economy, and the taxpayer bails them out. In Germany, Lufthansa went bankrupt in COVID-19, and taxpayer money bailed them out. Do I, as a taxpayer, now own a share of them? No. You just take our money, save them, and what do I have from that? Dude, I'm going to be a bit sexist. That woman must really rock his world, if you know what I mean. Like, why? How did this happen? She must be rocking him, if you know what I mean.
I just like this slide. It has no context or relevance. We're economically attacking the young, but I know, let's attack their emotional and mental well-being. Let's take advantage of the fact of the flaws in our species with medieval institutions, Paleolithic instincts, and godlike technology. I'm just going to say, I think Mark Zuckerberg has done more damage to young people in our nation while making more money than any person in history. Oh, but wait, what could be worse? It's as if we let an adversary implant a neural jack into our youth to raise a generation of civic, military, and business leaders that hate America. How can we be this stupid? All right, this all adds up to a bunch of graphs all headed up into the right. And what are they? What's the first one?
That's interesting. What is the first one? Education or finishing university?
Oh, that's self-harm rate.
Oh, self-harm rates. Oh, wow. They went up. The boys didn't go up, but the girls massively went up. And yeah, I would fully agree, right? This has to do with social media. They see what they should look like on Instagram and stuff like that.
Which have exploded, especially among girls, since my colleague Jonathan Haidt pointed out it's really gone crazy since social went on mobile. What's the next one? Teens with depression. The next one, men and women not having sex. Biggest fear of my parents was that I was going to get the next one.
Men not having sex in 8 years. That's fucking crazy, dude.
and women not having sex. Biggest fear of my parents was that I was going to get into too much trouble. My biggest fear, honestly, is that my kids aren't going to get into enough trouble. By the way, my advice to every young person watching this program is go out, drink more, and make a series of bad decisions that might pay off. Next graph, cumulative gun deaths. You're more likely to be shot in the United States if you're a toddler or an infant than a cop. Next graph.
Shut up. There's no fucking way. No way that's real. There's no fucking way. You're more likely to die as a toddler than a police officer because of a gun. Shut up. Shut up. We need to arm toddlers now? Ken Doodle is very quiet right now. What? How is that explainable? What the fuck? Obesity? I look at obesity, man. Holy shit.
Obesity, way up. By the way, the industrial food complex wants to addict you to shitty, fatty food so they can hand you over to the industrial diabetes complex. We should not romanticize obesity. You're not finding your fucking truth. You're finding diabetes.
Man, no one clapping there, but the truth is
Overdose
spoken.
deaths, way up. Deaths of despair. When I was in high school, it was drunk driving. Now it's kids killing themselves. Young people don't want to have kids anymore. 2/3 of people aged 30 to 34 able-bodied used to decide to have at least one child. It's been cut in half. It's now less than a third, 27%. As a result, people over the age of 60 in the US, pretty happy. People under the age of 30, not so much. Some of the lowest in the free world. What can we do? Nothing wrong with America that can't be fixed with what's right with it. We got the hard stuff figured out. There are programs to address all of these issues. They cost a lot of money. That's the hard part. And we have figured this out. In just 5 minutes post an earnings call, we can add $250 billion to the economy. We've got the hard part figured out, the resources. We have the money, but we decide not to do it.
So he's kind of telling us the rich have all the money. Like a big company like Nvidia, 1 day gain. It was the biggest gain in a day from market capital, which will literally pay for all the issues we have. He's kind of making a point how capitalism is bad.
We have the money,
in a
but
day.
we decide not to do it. This is per capita spending on
public spending on childcare. Once again, Iceland, Germany, Sweden, Scandinavia just crushing it. Israel looking really fucking shit. USA on the bottom, man. Holy mamma mia.
Childcare in the United States relative to other nations.
We love the children. I love children. We do everything for the children. I go to the rooms, I said, put on your clothes, put on your clothes, go and make the pageant. You look beautiful. I'm going to date you in a couple of years.
This is housing permits. Things are doable. We increase minimum wage to $25 an hour. It goes into the economy. The wonderful things about low and middle income households is they spend all their money. We have to have a progressive tax structure.
Great video, Lizenius, man. Respect. You're kind of a retard in this chat, man, but that's a fucking great video.
Structure with alternative minimum tax on corporations and wealthy individuals. We need to refund the...
But here's the point. What I want to hear from him. What the fuck do you do? We have the solutions. He knows what to do. We kind of learn what to do. How the fuck do you make it real? How do you turn this into reality to fix these things? Because it doesn't look like...
IRS. We need to reform Social Security. It should be based on whether you need the money, not on how old you are. We need a negative income tax. My friend Andrew Yang screwed up a great idea, but he branded it incorrectly. Instead of calling it UBI, he should have got Republicans on board by calling it a negative income tax. We need to eliminate the capital gains tax deduction. When did we decide that the money that capital earns is more noble than the money that sweat earns? Shouldn't it be flipped? We need to remove 230 protection for all algorithmically elevated content. We need identity verification. The reason we can have identity verification is because we have a First Amendment. Break up big tech. We have monopolies that are incurring greater and greater costs on every small business and parents because, again, see above, our representatives don't understand these technologies. We need to age-gate social media. There's absolutely no reason anyone under the age...
1000%. How can anyone disagree with that? Anyone, man. In my family, there's... How do I explain? Lisa's cousins, they're like the greatest family ever. They're like ultra educated, great fucking people, and they're now sending their kids to a private school. They're like, they have money. The woman is a professor of ultra great people, man. The most intelligent people I know. And that private school is allowing no social media, nothing. Nothing, man.
16 should ever be on social media.
100%.
We need universal pre-K. We need to reinstate the expanded child tax credit. We need term limits, see above Andrew Yang. We need income-based affirmative action. Any visible...
Again, this is all great, and I fully agree, but how the fuck do you make this real?
Kinds of affirmative action make no sense at all. You would rather be born gay or non-white in the United States today than poor, and that's a sign of our progress and our need to recalibrate who we give advantage to. Affirmative action, of which I'm a beneficiary of, I got Pell Grants, I got unfair advantage. Affirmative action is a wonderful thing, and it should be based on color. It should be based on green, how much money you have or don't have. Expand college enrollment in vocational programs, mental health, ban phones in schools, invest in third places.
But honestly, stuff like this is happening a bit now. In Germany, I know there's more and more banned in schools. Like, things are happening. Maybe I'm always a bit too negative, but things are happening.
Big brothers and sisters programs. We need national service.
I like how everything he says here, I would like to put in my party. When I think about my own party, the Technocratic Party of Germany, this should literally be your pamphlet. You should right now form a party in your country. This should be your points. Boom.
We need to tell people in the United States and Canada that they live in the greatest countries in the world, and we need to remind them of that every day by exposing them to other great Americans where they feel connected tissue. We can do all of this. We can do all of it. We have the resources. The question is, do we have the will? This is my last slide. It is an emotionally manipulative slide to try and get you to like me more.
I don't know what for places.
But it does have a message. This is the whole shooting match. Anybody here without kids, ask someone with kids. You have your world of work, you have your world of friends, you have your world of kids. Something happens here, your whole world shrinks to this.
Oh. You only understand you have kids,
I
man.
present, as I wrap here...
For places is Jugendzentrum. Ah, it's places where kids can organize and meet and stuff.
Which is a few questions. One, if you acknowledge
TommyKay has this World of Warcraft.
that our kids are the most important thing in our lives, that everything else we do here is meaningful, but our kids' well-being and prosperity is profound. If you acknowledge that they're doing more poorly than previous generations, if you believe there's a chance that the illusion of complexity has done nothing to provide cloud cover for the unbelievable transfer of goodwill, of well-being, and of prosperity from young to old, and if you believe we can actually fix these problems and we have the resources, then I present to you, I posit, I augur the question that I hope has more veracity than it did 17 minutes and 24 seconds ago. And that's the following question. Do we love our children? My name is Scott Galloway. I teach at NYU, and I appreciate your time.
What's there to say? I don't think we have much to add. And I feel like, how can you still not think like that or not see these facts and these problems? That was a great video, man. Fucking crazy, man. It seems just so hard to turn that stuff into reality, man. It's a 1 year old video.
She slipped in my fingers like sand. Further she had a man. Now I'm just sitting here sad. Oh well, ship sail. She slipped in my fingers like sand.